What's up, YouTube? This is Mouthwas97, and welcome to episode number 14 of my SmackDown vs. Raw 2006 General Manager Mode, coming to you from Helena, Montana for the June 28th edition of Friday Night SmackDown. So as we see, taking a look at the match card, we are going to be showcasing two of the matches as always, one of them being a confrontation between Rene Dupree and Ric Flair. We have Kane defeated by Eddie Guerrero, who had Batista in his corner. Big Show defeats Chavo Guerrero, so the tag team champions, a win and a loss this week. And a matchup that's actually isn't in any WWE game beyond this, and I do kind of like the concept of it. A Captain's Fall Tornado 6-man tag team elimination match. So we'll get to that in a little bit, discuss it a little more when we get to that matchup, but it is a 6-man tag featuring 6 of SmackDown superstars. So, like I said, we'll explain it a little bit more when we get there, but I do kind of like that idea for a matchup. It is kind of cool. It's unique to this year's game as opposed to 07 and 08, so we'll get to that when we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for now, we can see the Cruiserweight Champion Rob Van Dam will be ringside for this matchup to see how the former Cruiserweight Champion Ric Flair will fare in his matchup tonight against Rene Dupree. Of course, last week the Cruiserweight title was up for grabs, and Rob Van Dam was able to score the victory. Well, actually, it wasn't last week, it was 2 weeks ago. The Cruiserweight title was up for grabs. I don't even know what's going on anymore. But tonight, Ric Flair is going to go one-on-one with Rene Dupree. And of course, we had the, at the Judgment Day pay-per-view, Ric Flair won the Triple Threat ladder match and captured the Cruiserweight Championship. Although, like I said, Rob Van Dam did win it back in his rematch clause. So, Ric Flair tonight, just look at this. Oh, 3 right hands to the skull of Rene Dupree. And now Ric Flair, well, we're going to be seeing a lot of this. Ric Flair working on the leg of Rene Dupree, try to soften him up for the figure 4 leg lock. Rene Dupree, of course, he's one of our superstars here on SmackDown who really has a lot going against him. But we did see from Tajiri back a few episodes ago that even though there's a lot going against superstars like Rene Dupree, Tajiri, and Orlando Jordan, really the 3 main superstars who have served as our jobbers. Tajiri showed that, just because they're jobbers doesn't mean that they can't put on a good match. I mean, Tajiri almost won his matchup with Paul London a few weeks ago. He really had Paul London on the ropes. So expect to see that kind of determination from Rene Dupree here tonight. Ric Flair driving the knee right into the skull of Dupree. Although Ric Flair, of course, they call him the dirtiest player in the game, and he's one of the greatest of all time, the man. I mean, Ric Flair may not go down quite so easily. I mean, I wouldn't call this a matchup between equals, unlike, the match between Paul London and Tajiri. They were both cruiserweights, both very talented athletes, so that was more of a level playing field. Whereas tonight, Ric Flair, I mean, former 16-time world champion, tag team champion, intercontinental champion, as well as cruiserweight champion here in this series. So Ric Flair, he's accomplished a lot throughout his decorated career. So I mean, Rene Dupree, he's got a lot to try to step up against here tonight. As we can see Ric Flair now catching the ankle, distracting Dupree, and now hangs him out to dry on that rope. And now, counter here by Dupree. He was able to hook the arm of Flair, as now he's going to pick Flair up for a backbreaker right there. Although Dupree, those legs are going to be strategically softened up during this matchup with Ric Flair. So Dupree is going to have to be careful using moves like that. I mean, he could just very well take himself out of the game. Wait a minute, Dupree! Dupree with a roll-up on Flair. He's got the tights, the ref. He's got the tights. Oh, that was a close one there. Dupree almost stole one there. And I guess that's a bit of a compliment when you're going up against someone known as the dirtiest player in the game. But Ric Flair chops out the leg of Dupree. Oh, and now he's looking for it. He's looking to set up Dupree for the figure 4 leg lock. Oh, and Ric Flair, of course, adding a little bit of flair beforehand. And now Flair, he's got it locked in. The figure 4 leg lock applied. One of the most deadly submission maneuvers in the history of professional wrestling. Dupree just breaking his own leg with his other leg there, but he had to tap out. He had no choice. I mean, he could have had his leg broken there by the figure 4 leg lock. But that is it, folks. Ric Flair picks up the victory here in our opening contest. And, well, for now, it appears as though Van Dam and Ric Flair, they're going to celebrate on this night as equals. You know, they're not letting their personal rivalry, they're not letting that get the better of them tonight. They're keeping it classy. They're accepting the victory. Van Dam celebrating with Ric Flair. So it appears as though Van Dam, despite, you know, losing the Cruiserweight Championship to Flair, and Flair losing it back to Van Dam, it appears as though, for now at least, they're, you know, they can be considered allies. Almost like they're allies, but yet, you know what they say, the old expression, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. So for now, it might appear as though they're buddy-buddy with each other, but once the Cruiserweight Championship is back on the line and what would be the rubber match, well then, I doubt they'll be so friendly then, but for now, they're going to let it go for now. But now we're going to move on to the main event, an interesting concept of the Captain Fall 6-man elimination tag team matchup. So basically how this one goes, if you are unfamiliar with SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, I honestly don't know if this match type was in any other game other than this one, but it might have been, but this was the last one it was featured in. So basically how it goes, it's an elimination tag team matchup, and the team, you know, the goal is to eliminate the captain, the team captain. So for this matchup, the team captains are Triple H and Bret Hart. So what each team is going to try to do is they're going to try to, the goal is to eliminate, so if you're on team Bret Hart, so if you're Kurt Angle, Bret Hart, and Chris Benoit, you want to try to eliminate Triple H from the matchup. That's how you win. And of course, for the other team, you want to try to eliminate Bret Hart. But the cool thing about this matchup is you don't necessarily have to eliminate the team captain first. You can eliminate, so say if Edge, Orton, Kurt Angle, or Chris Benoit get eliminated from this matchup, the match keeps going. The match doesn't stop until Triple H or Bret Hart are eliminated. So this is, you know, it's a good way to find yourself in a bad situation. You know, anything could happen. I mean, Triple H or Bret Hart could be eliminated first off in this matchup, and that's it. But otherwise, it's kind of like a Survivor Series tag team matchup, where, you know, you just got to try to eliminate people until you eliminate the captain. So, say you want to try to isolate the team captain. You know, if you're in the case of Bret Hart, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, you might want to try to isolate Triple H, get him into perhaps a 3-on-1 situation, or a 2-on-1, or whatever the case may be. You can easily try to eliminate Edge or Orton first, and save Triple H for another time. Save him for later in the matchup, so that way you've got the numbers advantage, and you'd have a better chance at eliminating the team captain. So there's a bit of strategy that goes into this one, also a bit of personal rivalries could sway the outcome of this matchup. You know, perhaps personal vendettas between these 6 superstars could overwhelm the teamwork aspect of this matchup. So we could perhaps see some clashes between teammates if they don't, you know, they don't agree with the same sort of strategy. Each individual could have their own strategy, and that could perhaps, they could perhaps butt heads throughout this matchup. But we'll see how this one plays out. For now, we can see Kurt Angle and Triple H going at it. Randy Orton has now entered the ring. Chris Benoit and Edge are going at it. They're on the outside, as we know they've got their rivalry over the past month in GM mode. But Edge right there now with a short arm clothesline of Kurt Angle, Edge's new rival, the #1 contender for the United States Championship. Kurt Angle giving Edge his first loss of the series a couple of weeks back on, of course, the one episode that glitched up, wasn't recorded properly, and it was the first loss for Edge. I'm still a bit frustrated about that, but, you know, what can you do? You can't change the past, so there's really no sense in dwelling on it. But I think I figured out a new way. Well, it's not really new. The option was always there, but how Elgato has that feature, what do they call it, like flashback recording or something? Whatever it is, where you can, like, let the video play out in the background, and then, so say I let the Elgato kind of sit there for 10, 15 minutes, and then I can just basically go back throughout the footage, and then hit the record button, and it instantly records, like, those 15 minutes. Now, I originally wasn't a fan of that idea because my laptop wasn't handling it. It was having none of it. It would always, like, glitch out after I did that. But when I was trying to record this footage, because normally when I do it live, I already explained the process for that in an earlier episode of the series. Can't remember which one, so I do apologize if you are new to my channel, my series. But I have explained the process many times over in several different videos, so I don't really feel like going over it again. But since my original method of recording, just recording it live, wasn't working, I figured I would give the whole flashback, whatchamacallit, feature a try, see how that works. And I did that for episode 13 and this episode as well, and it worked out. It seemed to work just fine. So perhaps I'll try to go to that for the rest of this series, if it continues to work. Because I know sometimes what I basically did, so that way, like, my laptop doesn't want to play HD video for any reason, because it's not, it's kind of a I don't know how to describe this laptop. It's kind of cheap. Wait a minute. Bret Hart and Kurt Angle, I don't know, they just kind of failed there, but I'm getting sidetracked from my tangents, which is bad. I can't have a tangent from a tangent. So, as I was saying with the recording thing, great, now I lost my train of thought. This is what happens when I was losing my train of thought to begin with, and then I talked about the match, and now I apologize. This commentary is going straight to hell fast. But, as I was attempting to say, with the recording, I don't know what I was going to say. I completely lost my train of thought. I do apologize sincerely for that. But basically, what I did, I just set it to, like, the editing mode, and while it's in editing, it's still kind of, as long as the program is open, it will have kind of the memory of the previous recording. As long as it's open, it can still record the previous footage from, I don't remember how much it stores up, but basically I just set it to the editing mode, and then I played the matches out, and then I went to the recording mode, and just hit the button, recorded it, and it worked for episode 13 and 14. We'll see if that works for the rest of the series. I hope it does. That would really be nice. It would help me get through the series so I don't have to sit there for like 15 minutes to half an hour just waiting for the recording to work so that I can record an episode. Because, yeah, my normal method of recording it live just wasn't working, so I had to find a new method, and hopefully this one works. So, at least for now, we'll enjoy it. We'll enjoy the non-laggy video footage. As we can see, Triple H hit the pedigree on Angle, but it took the referee a little while to get into position to count the pinfall. As will happen in this kind of a matchup, there's action fast and furious all around the ring. As we can see, I mean, Edge and Benoit going at it. Execution DDT there by Edge, as he's going to go for the cover on Benoit, but Bret Hart is there to break it up. As we can see, Kurt Angle, Triple H going at it, Bret Hart, Randy Orton going at it, Edge and Benoit all going at it. So the referee, it's kind of hard to keep track of all the action at once. I mean, if he had been there to count the pinfall immediately, Kurt Angle may have been eliminated, and it would have been a 2-on-3 advantage for Team Triple H. But right now, there was an STF locked in by Benoit on Edge. Hart had a leg lock submission hold, and my commentary may have skipped, so I apologize for that. As we see now, a pedigree delivers.
Yeah, you can tell my laptop is just kind of... YouTube, yeah, it's got to be lagging at this point, because my mouse is lagging too. It's like the year working two videos and it all out, because rendering takes forever on this laptop. It's not... I highly doubt that's what this laptop was made for, this kind of high production YouTube stuff that I'm doing. So yeah, I think it's finally catching up to it. It's just it lags a lot all the time, so fingers crossed I'll be getting a new laptop, I don't know, later this year, maybe by the end of the year, if I'm not too cheap to buy one, because I am super cheap. Like,
No joke, I am just, I'm a cheapskate. If you ever seen, you know, SpongeBob, I'm like Mr. Krabs to a T. I, like, am not willing to spend my money on, like, anything. But, yeah, that's just me. I'm a cheap... Never mind. I'm not going to say that word, because I like to keep my content fairly family-friendly. I like to keep my content illiterate, because I can't speak at times. Anyways, enough with the tangents. Back to the match. Chris Benoit locking in the crossface, but to no avail. Randy Orton was saved by Triple H. As we can see, just look at the superstars right now. Edge, Triple H, Orton, Benoit, they're all really taking a beating. Kurt Angle as well is up there in damage, fatigue. Bret Hart is actually looking to be in the best shape at the moment, but Kurt Angle just delivered an angle slam, cover on Edge, 1, 2, there's nobody there to save him, and that's an elimination. Edge is gone, but the match continues, as now it's a 2-on-3 advantage for Team Bret Hart. Chris Benoit goes for the cover on Triple H. The match could be over here, but Orton just gets in to save Triple H from that one. And now look at this, Chris Benoit. Benoit, oh, he was going for the crossface, but Triple H had it well scouted. He was able to get out of that one just barely at the last second. Now Kurt Angle thrown into the corner. Randy Orton right now, well, it looked like he was going to get a sledgehammer. I guess he had second thoughts because, I mean, it is 2-on-3, so perhaps bringing the weapon into the matchup, if one of his opponents were to get a hold of that weapon, well, it would make it even worse for Team Triple H. Just look at this. Kurt Angle, a sleeper hold applied here on Randy Orton. Triple H, he's unable to get to Orton's aid, and Orton, well, he passes out there. Kurt Angle with the sleeper hold eliminates Orton from the matchup. Triple H, he was too busy fighting off Bret Hart and Kurt Angle at the same time. Or Chris Benoit, I should say. And now a pile driver delivered by Bret Hart. Angle goes for the cover, looking to eliminate Triple H here. But, oh, Kurt Angle, no, he's not done. We know the history between Angle and Triple H. And Kurt Angle, he wants to make Triple H suffer a little bit more. And that's the nature of this Captain's Fall tag team matchup. If you save the captain, well, wait a minute, Triple H, he might not even need his team. Perhaps trying to start up a rally here against all three men as he had thrown Bret Hart into Kurt Angle. But now Kurt Angle's got the advantage on Triple H. Got him in a headlock here. Just trying to wear out Triple H. But Kurt Angle, that's obviously a little bit of personal bias getting into the matchup, a bit of the vendetta Kurt Angle has against Triple H, as he wants to see Triple H suffer. Kurt Angle failed to gain the World Heavyweight Championship at Judgment Day in the Iron Man match, and he wants to see Triple H pay. He wants him to take the beating of a lifetime here tonight. But Bret Hart, he's going to go for the cover, looking to get the pin here, and that is it, folks. Well, it may not have been for very long, but Kurt Angle keeping Triple H into that matchup and just allowed the 3-on-1 teamwork, the assault to continue until finally Triple H, he couldn't take it anymore. Bret Hart, Kurt Angle, they all decided that it was, you know, Triple H, he had taken enough damage. I mean, obviously you don't want to injure the man because you want to, you know, you want to be able to take the world title away from him, you know, personally. So they didn't want to keep him in the match to the point where he got injured, but they did just want to let him know who was in control. As we see Vengeance, the Raw pay-per-view just passed, so Raw definitely got a bit of a fan boost there, as they got a 2.5-star show for their episode of Raw. And, of course, they had the Vengeance pay-per-view as well, which really is just going to swing things in their favor. We had a 2.5-star show as well, so it was a pretty even week. It wasn't for the
Vengeance pay-per-view. So yeah, we really had the advantage for this week. Except for Vengeance, that's really what tipped the scales in Raw's favor. So, fair enough, 3.5-star pay-per-view. They had a 4.5-star match 5. What was this match? JBL versus John Cena in an Iron Man match for the WWE title. Wow. And look at this. They even have enough star power to have Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan versus Undertaker and Rey Mysterio in Hell in a Cell tag team matchup. Well, for one thing, why was the WWE title not on the line in the main event? Normally you save the best for last, but
Apparently, according to the ratings, that's not what Raw did. We still have the advantage, though. We're up by almost 1 million fans, which, that's a nice breath of fresh air as opposed to the 08 GM mode series, where we were behind in the ratings the entire time. But yes, as you can see, we did bring in some new legends. The British Bulldog and Andre the Giant are coming over to SmackDown. Now, I'm looking to use one of these two superstars as like a potential bargaining chip with Monday Night Raw. Try to get one of the two to... Also, we're going to bring in a new jobber, Chris Masters, just because Dupree's popularity kind of dropped off. All 3 contracts expired, so we let them all go. But yeah, either Andre or the British Bulldog. I'm thinking maybe Andre the Giant, perhaps, to trade away to try to bring in somebody from Monday Night Raw. Not sure who yet, but I'm going to take a glimpse at the Raw roster just to kind of give y'all a view of what Monday Night Raw brings to the table, who we could perhaps try to trade for to bring them over, try to bring some new blood onto the SmackDown roster. Maybe JBL. He's not the WWE champion anymore. I don't know. I'm kind of trying to look for some superstars who aren't in 2007. But then again, I don't think Andre the Giant is in 2007, so maybe I'll keep him. Because I do plan on doing an 07 GM mode series later on, so I don't really want to have too many duplicates. But I digress. That's it for this episode. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep on YouTubing.